Benny moved to America when he was 5 years old. He was raised to be a hard worker, and that trait has stayed with him throughout his career. After graduating from Harvard, he created several successful companies which now employ thousands of people around the world. Forbes magazine called him a whirlwind of a manager and bright and energetic. Mr. Benny has also proven himself as a strong problem solver and a strong business leader. He spends much of his time giving back to the community. After the death of a close friend, he dedicated a school in the name of that friend. After years of community service, he feels that he can bring his new traits of leadership and business to Washington.
Hello, my name is Brady Manning. I'm a member of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, and I have with me today Mr. Bill Binney. We're going to be asking you some questions today, Mr. Bill Binney. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, our first question. What is the role of the federal government in local education? And as a U.S. Senator, what would you do to improve the quality of public education in Manchester?
Well, I think that the role of the federal government is less than the role of the state government, and I think most of the decisions that are valid for schools happen at the local level. I believe that decisions, as an example, made at a kitchen table are better than a decision made at a conference table. So to the extent that local school boards, local community boards that are involved, by that I mean associations like the PTA, those are the most important elements of a successful school. I've had the privilege and the pleasure of being involved in starting a school. My best friend and college roommate, George Jackson, passed away. He was 41. He was a terrific guy. And I, along with a few friends of mine, we started a school in New York called the George Jackson Academy. So I've got some insight into what it takes to have and build a successful school. And what it takes is, in my experience, number one supportive, loving adult or parent in that child's life who helps them do their homework, tells them when to go to school and make sure they come to school with a decent breakfast and so on. All of the common sense things that make a difference. The second is that somebody who cares to instruct them in terms of helping them with their homework and making sure that they do the appropriate science and math and learning the basics that are so useful later on in life. And the third is it's not about money. It's not about the physical structure of the school. It's really about the quality of the teachers, the dedication and the passion that's in the administrators and in the teachers as well as in the students. If they want to learn, they can learn. And that's been my experience. We've built a very successful school, and I'm very, very proud of it. And I think that that experience of building the George Jackson Academy as an example is the sort of experience that I bring to Washington as a U.S. Senator.
All right, well, thank you. Our next question. In 2001, bombing commenced in Afghanistan, marking the start of 8+ years of American involvement. Much has been made lately of the strategy regarding Afghanistan. Now, what does success in Afghanistan mean to you? And as a U.S. Senator, what would you do to ensure American success in Afghanistan?
Well, you know, I can't believe that there's one American that doesn't understand why we're in Afghanistan in terms of we're there because terrorists from Afghanistan, based in Afghanistan, came to America, killed Americans on our soil. None of us want to be there for any other reason than to deal with that singular event of that terrorist base and group of people coming to our country and killing us and wanting to do us harm. That's a real fact, and we can't dispute that. We can't shy away from it. It's a real phenomenon. We have to deal with it. That's why we're there. So the first objective of the United States government and of its officials, senators, congresspeople, and others, is to make sure, and the president, that terrorist activity stops, that we can be safe and secure in our borders, in our country, or wherever any American is, and they can't be based in a terrorist camp in Afghanistan, for example. That's first and foremost, securing our defense and making sure that we as Americans are safe from the terrorist activity that went on in 2001. But the other thing that I would want the people of New Hampshire to know about me is that I'm the son of immigrants and I'm the proud father of 4 kids. I've got a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old who just graduated from high school, a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old. The conversation that we've had in the last few weeks as my son's been graduating from high school have involved military service. Now he's going to go to college, but it's very likely that one of my children will serve in the military, and it's very likely, if that's the case, that they're going to serve in this theater of war. I've known that for a while, and As a United States Senator, I wouldn't be just a senator, I'd be a parent. I'd have some skin in the game. And it's important that we make sure that everybody who goes there, all of our service men and women, and the generals and the military officials have exactly what they need in a timely basis at the highest and best quality to make sure that they can do the mission that we're asking them to do. And as a United States Senator, I would absolutely make sure that the people who are there, the military personnel that are asked to sacrifice so much to go there, have all of the resources, the best resources that our country can give them.
Well, thank you. And our next question, ultimately, today's young people will face the lasting effects of the current economic crisis. As a U.S. Senator, what would you do to assist young people in achieving economic prosperity within the next generation?
Well, it's at the heart of my candidacy, this whole economic issue. I've been a successful businessman for most of my life now. Just a little bit of a background on who I am. I went to a big public high school. I graduated. My guidance counselor teachers thought that I was going to go change tires or change gearboxes. That's who I was. Nobody had any big expectations for me. I eventually went on and I graduated, was a scholarship kid, and got a couple of Harvard degrees from Harvard College and Harvard Business School, and I went on to start my own business. And I've created a number of successful businesses. I know what it's like to meet a payroll and to build a business. I know what it's like to walk into a piece of land, put a foundation down, and buy some equipment, and to build a product and compete on the world stage in the global marketplace. That fact, I think, is what sets me apart from the other candidates. And the whole point in the question you're asking about what does it mean for young people in the economic crisis that we're going through today, I think that this economic crisis that we're dealing with as a nation and as a society is fundamentally different than anything I've seen in my lifetime before and that has happened since. For example, I've seen the crash of '87 when the stock market crashed and lost 20+% in a day. When I graduated from graduate school, we had 13% unemployment when Ronald Reagan was president. Things looked bleak. But where we are today, with the situation we're facing, we're now looking at countries like Greece that's going bankrupt. We're now looking at Spain with 22% unemployment and huge debt problems. And you can say the same with Italy and Ireland and other countries in Europe. And unfortunately, that debt and deficit problem that's in Europe is coming our way. The current administration in Washington doesn't seem to understand that we can't have a healthy economy if our government is spending us into bankruptcy. And that's what my candidacy is about, because I care about the debt burden that's being left to young people. It's unconscionable. It's not fair. It's not right. And what we need in this country is very simple. Number one, we need jobs. Number two, we need to address the debts and the deficits so that when you're my age, and I'm 52, that you have the same shot at the American dream that I've had. That's really what this is about, to make